getting a massive stat gap. Okay, now with the preamble out of the way, onto the review proper. And Muro is animating this, which is nice, but we'll get to that later.
Miles Morales versus Izuku Midoriya.
Spider-Man versus Deku. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and
the
skills
opening,
to find out who would win a death
the
battle.
opening. It's serviceable.
Alright, let's take this from the top again.
And starting off with the Spider-Verse stuff. I'll get to the Spider-Verse stuff more. But my biggest criticism so far of the episode is how reference heavy it gets, if you understand what I mean. I'll discuss that later when you'll see.
This is Peter Parker. He was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for who knows how long, he's been the one and only Spider-Man.
A friendly neighbor to all of New York City. In a universe filled with super soldiers, hulking green Goliaths, and world-shattering gods, Spider-Man is there to look out for the little guy.
But in a multiverse of infinite possibilities, that doesn't always last forever. Like in universe...
Okay, like... Here's the thing with the multiverse. That is technically part of Miles' story. He was from the Ultimate Universe, now he's brought over because he's so popular. But I'm honestly not a big fan of how much his review spent on the multiverse stuff. I'll discuss that at length later on.
1610, when
so
NYC's webhead got iced on the job.
The city was left without its protector. But fortunately, Peter wasn't the only one who got bit. Enter Miles Morales, a young teen from Brooklyn just trying to...
But at this point, I don't think it needs to be said. The, editing is always phenomenal on these episodes. It really is. Like, whoever their editor is for the lettering and paneling and stuff is... Shoot, I wish I had that talent.
Figure out his place in the world, and now he had it thrust upon him.
The canon event.
I never attempted to edit, but never mind. Dislikes Paul, don't we all? And they mentioned his Herald of Anansi stuff, but I'll discuss that towards his conclusion, because I do have thoughts on that.
To start all canon events, now it was Miles' turn to be the hero.
I'll just say it now. While I am happy, how I would have handled the Herald of Anansi stuff is, I would have done a golden tree moment, frankly. Like, mention it at the beginning of in his analysis that, oh, he's the Herald of Anansi. Then in the conclusion, sort of explain why that's not as impressive as it sounds. Because my understanding, but I could be wrong, is this Anansi guy kind of just watches over him and doesn't interfere. You know, this isn't some Moon Knight case where he can go from street tier to, like, Herald tier because the other guy stepped in, you know? And even then, I'm questioning Moon Knight's Herald stuff, too. Point being,
Big Apple needed.
That's how I would have handled the Herald question. Mention it, just do a golden tree moment. Explain why it's not what people make it out as.
And he had all the usual spider kit to help him out.
This spider carried the Oz formula, a genetics-enhancing serum that granted Miles superhuman strength, speed, and the ability to alter his body's electron attraction to crawl along any surface.
And you can't forget that classic spider sense, an internal warning system.
And again, like, honestly, the way they introduced the powers, it's fine. You do the classic Spider-Man stuff, and then they move to his
system that lets Miles know about incoming threats so he can react ahead of time. He even got an upgrade that acts like a radar, letting him see through stuff.
But no spider person is complete without their web shooters. Given to him by Peter's Aunt May, these webs have all sorts of applications between swinging, grabbing, restraining, projectiling, and being made into constructs.
Not having Peter around.
That is kind of awkward how they explain all the different uses of webs, just because it's like Spider-Man is so common of an IP.
Time to
we
show
all
him the
do
ropes
really-
made things a lot tougher,
should
though.
all
And between
understand,
mishaps with wall crawling and web slinging,
all
Miles
the
got off to a rocky start.
Like any typical teenager, he had a lot of self-doubt. Could he keep up in school? What was the right way to talk to girls?
And how could he live up to being Spider-Man when one of the villains he had to face turned out to be his very own uncle? Makes
kind of all surface level stuff.
family
frankly.
dinner so awkward. All
Like,
that trying to kill you stuff.
Fortunately,
there's a
Miles had a leg up on
disappointment,
every
they don't-
other superhero known to
Granted,
man.
this is something all comic book characters kind of have. When they have decades of different stories, each with their own continuities, you can never really just have a satisfying character arc. You either have to, in the analysis, you either have to keep it super vague or focus on one specific story, and it's, I don't know.
Living parents. Better yet,
Like, that's one
loving.
advantage anime and manga do have in Death Battle. Just a better analysis, frankly. You know, you get a more fitting story. You
Parents,
get a
they
story.
supported him when things got tough, even
And this is another part of the episode I couldn't say I was a fan of.
if they didn't
He
always.
did bring up, oh, he has parents and friends and alliances and teams, but that only really was used to introduce the vibranium suit, if we're being frank. Like, Deku, he gets this whole section on, oh, he learned this move from this friend, and this move from this friend, and how all his friends cheered him on in the finale fight, and it's like, you know, it feels cheap, where it's like, one is, oh, guy has friends, where the other is, here's all the ways this guy's friends helped him out, you know, it
See
feels
eye to eye.
unbalanced.
And thanks to them, he learned that the best way to be Spider-Man wasn't to do it like Peter, but to do it
And
his
another
own way.
Spider-Man.
And it helped that this particular spider had a bit more to its bite than Peter's. Miles has a variety of unique powers, like invisibility and venom.
Not like Tom Hardy, though it is weird to give your main power the same name as one of your bad guys. Come on, Spidey, branding is important.
Miles can harness his own bioelectric energy and weaponize it, which is especially effective against individuals with genetic mutations.
Punching,
I'll have to check the corner burrs, but I don't think they did any.
absorbing, blasting, mega blasting.
out.
Hell, he can even make
They didn't
electric.
explain why, at least off of memory, why that wouldn't amplify like his damage to Deku that well.
Constructs out of this stuff, like biowebbing and a damn sword. Jeez, what kind of spider was this?
It's not entirely science fiction. Studies have shown that certain species of spiders, such as the Linophiidae, have a process known as ballooning. By spinning a thread of their silk, they can use the Earth's natural electric fields to fly, traveling up to hundreds of
Bro, we got planet level spiders.
miles. No pun intended.
Well, whatever kind of bite it was,
Planetary
it gave Miles the
spiders.
edge he needed to find his worth as Spider-Man.
Miles can dodge gunshots, missiles, and lightning bolts. He survived all sorts of beatings, including a building exploding on top of him.
Oh,
And
gee,
these were the feats that were kind of giving away the episode, or the outcome, so to speak, you know.
Spidey could lift buildings and dodge light speed attacks, and Miles is more than a match for him.
Like the time he
Like,
absorbed
this
the
right here was the feat that gave away the outcome. And I don't just mean that, oh, this blast was only like city level, but using an insomniac feat over a comic feat kind of just said, yeah, we're not considering Hailed scaling, so
energy
this
of a
was
bomb
when I
that was
knew,
going to
like, yeah,
vaporize
no,
Harlem.
it's
A
a
blast that would
Deku feed.
have equaled 15 million tons of TNT.
He's gotten kudos from a ton of older heroes too, becoming a member of the New Ultimates and
Like,
the
this is what I
Avengers.
was talking about. When they do mention his connection to heroes, it's only really used to bring up the vibranium suit. They don't really talk about how, like, I don't know, they mentored him or
He
helped
even helped
him
form
out.
the Champions, a team of teenage
Maybe
superheroes with
name
the
a
likes of Miss
specific
Marvel and
story,
Ironheart.
I
The
don't
king
know.
of Wakanda himself even suited him up with some Wakandan vibranium.
The same stuff as T'Challa's own suit. This super rare and tough metal can absorb kinetic energy and vibrational impacts.
It helps to regulate Miles's venom powers too, allowing him to better control his electrical output.
The vibranium is thinner to better fit his acrobatic fighting style, but it can still shake shake off most fatal attacks like they're nothing. This stuff is tough enough that Deadpool's swords have shattered against.
Okay, like, again, technically, Deadpool swords can absorb enough energy to cut, like, Hulk, but it's complicated, so, like, this is a feat that needs context
So
about.
it's not as durable as, say, Captain America's shield, and enough
And
kinetic
this
energy
was the other thing that gave away the match.
will overload it.
Don't be near it when it does, or you'll end up like the Falcon here when he used his vibranium wings to stop a bomb that was gonna blow up New York City.
They capped the vibranium at a city-busting bomb. Yes, technically the official calc was mountain level, but still, it's even the vibranium. This ended the vibranium argument. So this was the second instant when everybody knew the matchup was over.
That's twice now. Does any other city have to deal with this
That's
stuff?
just because I'm a bit of a tis, so I look at things through more of the debate and scaling side rather than, like, the
When vibranium
artsy
and
side,
spider
I
power
guess.
still
I don't
aren't
know.
enough, Miles can push his electrical output into overdrive.
Giving him huge boosts in strength and speed, and making him a whole lot zappier. It's your classic shonen power up, and he knows it too.
Actually, that's another part of the analysis I will give kudos to. Just flat out talking about how a shonen he gets at times. Because one of the ironies of this matchup is you have a manga character inspired by, like, classic Spider-Man comics, and a comic character inspired by, like, classic battle shonen. You know, it's ironic.
He's a bit of a weeb and has a thing for mimicking some favorites.
Despite his initial insecurities, Miles has more than managed to live up to his predecessor. No longer standing in the shadow, but side by side.
Literally, his universe got blown up and he was sent to the main 616 timeline, along with his family. And now it's him and Peter as a pair of Spider Bros.
He's even become one of
Back
the big
around here is where I would have brought up the Hailed stuff if I was running the episode. I would have ditched the multiverse stuff entirely and go into Hailed feats. And yes, admittedly, I would have done a golden tree and try to, like, debunk it in the conclusion. But sometimes you really do need a golden tree moments for, you know, like, actual misconceptions.
players of the Spider-Verse, teaming up with all
Yeah,
sorts of
there's
other
one thing,
spider variants to defend the multiverse.
There's anime spider people, robot spider people, dinosaur spider people, spider people, a whole
I
lot of
would've
them, each with their
ditched all
own
of
way
this
of getting the job
in
done.
my-
Miles
if
even
I was
led him into
running
battle
this, I
against the Inheritors,
ditch
a
the
bunch of
multiverse.
interdimensional vampire assholes.
This is what Stan Lee was proudest of in his
Although
favorites.
I do like the ending that, oh, anyone can be a hero as long as, like, they reach out. A bit too Disney Channel for me, but it is a nice ending.
Superhero.
You know?
Regardless of who they were, any sort of person could wear the mask and do the right thing. For so long as we stay true to ourselves and help others in our own unique ways, then anyone can be a hero.
Another thing I like is how this ending of his analysis leads into the beginning sentence of Deku. I just think it's a neat transition that, like, just pairs the characters together better than not. Also, I'm gonna see if the model is still tracking. Getting paranoid. Good.
But what is a hero? To the citizens of Japan, there was no one more synonymous with the word than their
Now-
symbol.
I went into this episode a Deku hater, and I'm gonna be honest, still kind of a Deku hater, so I'm gonna
Of
be...
peace. All Might.
biased
The
here,
big
but,
numero uno.
I get my toxicity from Dragon Ball fans. I'm just open about it. I've said that all the time.
With a smile on
I'm not
his
here to be the super objective, totally unbiased critic. I'm here to be a funny asshole. That's why y'all are sub to
face,
me.
he could save anyone and win any fight, no matter what.
Or so it seemed. After a battle with his arch nemesis All For One, All Might was grievously injured. His time as a beacon of hope was coming to an end, and he would need to find someone to pass on the torch.
He chose fucking poorly.
In this world, most human beings evolved to have their own individual superpowers, or quirks, but not everyone is lucky enough to get one. Like this
Okay,
kid
the actual analysis, from what I do know about Deku, it is fitting.
named
it
Izuku
works.
Midoriya,
Yes.
or as local bully Bakugo like to call him, the good-for-nothing Deku.
Izuku wanted to save people just like All Might, but even his idol told him
And then there's this bit of cringe. Like, isn't the Gravity chick literally his, like, canonical love interest? Like, no. Don't be scared of ship. See, here's the thing. Power Scalar's son is hilarious. Shipper daughter is...
he would have to
Shippers will
give up
send
on
death
his
threats
dreams.
Forever
with
the
them.
beta male in the
Power
shadow of
Scalar should just,
Bakugo
like,
and his
cry on the internet.
Sigma quirk until he got the chance to alpha up and lend his rival
Alright, and this part is cringe, using things like beta, alpha, and sigma unironically. In 2025, like, I remember when I was going through my edgy high school phase using those stuff unironically. Looking back now, it's fucking cringe. It's
a helping
cringe.
hand, proving himself worthy of All Might's torch.
And so, after months of training, Izuku was granted All Might's quirk, one for all. This power allows him to
I will
boost
say,
his
mostly his analysis has been better than the previous his previous episodes. You know, because his returner, except in one way that I'll
strength
get
to incredible heights, using it for smashing attacks named after specific U.S. locales, and a soccer club.
Or football, as they call it.
Straight punches, spikes, even finger flicks, One for All is the ultimate in strength-enhancing quirks.
The first time he used it, Izuku destroyed this giant robot in a single blow, on
I
accident.
do like how it hurts him, even if I would have preferred it coming up in the fight, like the actual. Think he ever really risked it except for like the big finale punch, but maybe
Too
I'm
bad it
wrong.
wasn't the only thing
I
he
would have
destroyed,
thought it was cool if
though.
Oh,
Damn,
I'll
that
get
looks like it
into my
hurts.
One for
thoughts
All's power
later.
was so great that the recoil would shatter Izuku's limbs when he used it. In the hands of an improper vessel, One for All could cause their body to explode, so Izuku would need to continuously train to master it at his Hero Academia.
Say that again.
And the fan stick line's always gonna be funny. This
And
is the
UA
highlight of his
Here he'd be
analysis.
inspired by girly pop Uraraka to turn his zero name into his hero
That's
name.
kind of what I was talking about. Like they talk, like with Deku, you really feel his connections to his friends, whereas analysis, they just didn't really show that, you know?
Becoming the Deku who always does
Oh, God,
his
that
best.
is-
Something that he
No, hold up.
Hero name. Becoming the Deku
That
who
is
always
the most goofy Disney Channel Mickey Mouse line I've ever heard. Like, when I said there was one part of his previous analysis I preferred, it was this. You know how, like, they talked about the, oh, well, Deku can mean good for nothing, or someone who can't do anything, I don't know, came off as less Disney Channel than the, I'm the one who does his best. Like, shut up. That is goofy, Get off of Disney
does his
Channel.
best.
something that he may have taken too far.
When it came to saving people, Do Your Best here had a bad habit of putting others way before himself. Sure, everyone else
see,
was
to
okay,
talk
but
about
he'd
all
be
his
good for
injuries,
nothing all over
I would've
again if he
preferred
got
seeing
himself
more
paralyzed.
injuries
So to
in
cut
the
down on his
animation,
hospital bill,
frankly.
he developed full cowling. Instead of using his quirk in short bursts, he would continuously spread the energy across his body at low percentages, using it for acrobatics inspired by Bakugo's explosive movements.
And with that new thinking came a new fighting style, shoot style. To use a stronger limb that'd be less likely to break, Deku took a page from Nerd Emoji Ida's book and switched to focusing on kicks to pack in more of a
I will
punch.
say it's funny. For someone who's always hyped up as so smart, it took my guy 3 seasons to figure out how kicking works.
Yeah.
And that
That's
power would
bad.
be needed. After a climactic battle with All for One, All Might would be forced into retirement, just a few months into Deku's training. Now it was his turn to face this demon lord.
But he didn't have to do it alone. Just as All Might had passed One for All onto Deku,
I do
it had
actually like how they broke down his quirks as well, going from more of his minor ones and ending with the two ones that everyone likes to bring up as like
been passed
It's
onto
just too
All Might by
better,
his
too
master,
strong,
and onto
too.
her by her master. One for All was a power that was built upon for generations.
The quirks of the previous users of One for All manifested in Deku, along with their spirits, or vestiges, to help him in his battle against All for One.
Black Whip gives him energy
Let's bring
tendrils
the
to
Black
swing around
Whip.
and restrain foes. They can also brace his arms and manually control.
Ooh, would have. Now that's another criticism. I would have preferred an overlay Deku moment in the fight.
His
I'll get
muscles
to
if
that.
he can't move.
Float allows him to soar
Also, I'm sorry, but float is such a joke of a power. No one ever brings it up in versus debating.
high into the sky. By combining it
Like
with
it
controlled
is.
blasts of
Float's
pressurized
such a
air, he
joke
can
of
effectively
power.
fly.
Danger Sense detects incoming threats and unease, letting Deku react in advance. Though it's mostly like an alarm bell and doesn't tell him specifics like location or number of threats. Familiar?
Smokescreen lets him, create a smokescreen. But he can use it at full blast to create a bigger
And
smokescreen.
bigger smoke screen's just a funny joke. Like that's we're still in my.
That's swell and all, but the real meat is in Fajin. After building
Good.
up kinetic energy within his body, Deku can unleash
still
it for
see the
bursts
red
of
dot
strength
in
and speed.
OBS.
He's combined it with Black Whip to create the powerful Black Chain
This is what
binding
I'm talking about. Like they bring up Fajin and Gear Shift
attack,
last,
and can
'cause
use
those
it in
are his
conjunction with
two
full cowling to achieve
strongest
foe
moves, the two
100%,
strongest
equaling
moves.
All Might's full level of power without any recoil.
He once used it to outspeed a bullet shot by Lady Nagant.
And while Lady Nagant is definitely a W, it is interesting using this feat because they've actually made him slower in this episode than in his previous
Former hero
episode.
turned villain who has a sniper rifle for an arm. I think I'm in love.
Nagant's
I
bullet
know
once
where I
crossed a
was
distance of
going with
around
that.
215 kilometers within a fraction of a second. That's 6,700 times
Like,
faster
no,
than
if you actually check his previous episode, they made him slow.
sound. And Deku was moving so fast, the bullet seemed like it was standing still.
And he can go even faster than that with his final quirk, Gear Shift.
By touching a target, he can control its speed without abiding by the laws of inertia. He can slow down foes to leave them frozen in the air, or move so fast he can punch multiple times in an instant.
Even All for One's own protege Shigaraki couldn't track him. And this is a dude who can catch light speed laser beams.
It does have a time limit though. After 5 minutes of continuous use, Deku's body will catch up to his speed, suffocating him as his cells
I
become
also do like how they do the one thing no Deku Glazer has ever done. Actually mention Gear Shift's drawback of he suffocates if he uses
Unable
it for
to take
more
in
than 5
oxygen.
minutes.
Not nearly as bad as One for All was suffocating him, though. He's been doing all of this shit in just the 10th grade. I hadn't even figured out you can breathe through your nose at that point.
the pressure of having to save his friends, the country, the entire world.
Woe didn't even become #1, but I have a tangent for my heroes in
Weighed on Deku, so he left UA to fight this war alone.
But alone was never where Deku fought best, having come
This
from
was kind of what I was talking about with Miles's analysis. Like they mention Miles's friends, but don't really talk about their contributions that much. Whereas for Deku, they talk about how his friends were there for him in the end. Like yes, I find it a very Disney Channel Mickey Mouse ending, but personal opinion
nothing. His
aside,
admiration for his peers gave him
analysis-wise,
strength, just as
it's
they admired
better,
his
you know?
strength and
Like-
desire to help others. Even Bakugo came around to him.
So when it came
Yeah, I
time
do
to finally
find
put
it-
that
like,
demon
yes,
lord back in
it's
hell,
very
his
Mickey
classmates,
Mouse
teachers,
with
mom,
my
friends,
liking.
enemy, and everyone else supported and cheered him on. Because that was the greatest threat to All for One's reign all along.
Like-
Not
Very
All Might, not Deku, not even One for All
Mouse.
itself. Just people helping each other
Two
out.
Mickey Mouse,
And with their help,
frankly.
Deku defeated All for One once and for all, blowing a hole in this huge storm and parting the skies for a brighter
which
future.
the count's surprisingly low, but I'll get to that.
He did lose
the
his quirk and have to retire from hero work. getting a regular 9 to 5 as a teacher.
Okay. Maybe this is just a East-West divide kind of thing, but as someone who was sort of left behind by American public schools, I just don't like teachers, frankly, you know? Like, for how much people talk about, oh, they're so important, we really need to pay them more. It's, yeah, no, that's like the rare fucking few. You might have had that one cool teacher, but most of them suck, frankly. Like, most of your teachers in life kinda suck.
Passing on his knowledge to the next generation, just like every user of One for All before him.
Some might say he peaked in high school, if not for the sick new...
And then there's the fucking Iron Man suit. I'm sorry, this just made all the, oh, he should have used tech haters right. Like, I'm sorry. The Iron Man suit ending is just awful. And that's by shonen standards, where, like, we're used to kind of trash
He eventually got to go back to kicking butt.
Didn't even technically finish his goal. They only made
it all the way back near the top of the rankings.
Not number 1.
All with the help of his friends. For so long as we keep reaching out our hands to help those in need, everyone can be a hero.
Yeah, no, too Mickey Mouse.
What are you on death?
Okay, another thing I do like is how it starts out in like this comic book style and ends in a more manga style. Like, it's a way to make the fight more memorable than like if it was just started more. Okay, so we start out with a Spider-Verse reference, and this is what I meant by it's too reference heavy. Like, usually you expect a reference or two per fight, a wink towards the fans, but then you expect for them to kind of do their own thing, you know? It's like... But for this, it felt like every other shot was a reference to something. I mean, at that point, you're not winking, you're seizing up, you know?
Less spider than usual. Whoa, I was looking for you!
And as you can see, they're going for the whole friendly contest tuned to first opening, which maybe I just missed the early days of Death Battle where you'd get some edgy setups. But I don't know, fans these days, they only want deaths in their death battles when it's manslaughter, and I don't vibe with that, you know? Just allow an
show me what you can do?
Alright, new guy. First lesson, don't watch the mouth.
See, that's like a Spider-Verse reference.
Watch the heads.
Now what?
So it's kind of out of context.
Mine, Delaware!
Let's try that like one. The actual effect on my brain. As well as him getting caught on the web,
I can't use my full power here. Gotta take this somewhere
else.
Also,
actually seeing better strategy and use of his powers than the previous episode. And actually having Smokescreen be purple. Like, there are definitely improvements upon both characters' previous episodes. You know, like we saw Fajin, we saw Smokescreen, we saw Danger Sense. They actually were like breaking the web shooters. You know, that's their strategy.
Got skills, man. I like that. Oh, mierda.
Then we get the Fox 100% reference, followed by, I think that's the Spider-Verse reference.
I moved us to an abandoned part of the city so we can go all out! Because I always do my best!
And I'm sorry, that's a line that just meant... Okay, it's too Mickey Mouse for me. Like, is it on point for the character? Yes, he's always been sort of that dorky but genuine guy. I'm not saying it's out of character for him to say, I'm saying it's in character, and that's why I'm... But you know, I like the lightning webs and the shot of the napkin and the building. I think that's cool. I'm sorry, this confused the martial artist in me where he got kicked and he got punched like at the same time, because well, legs are longer than your hands, so I'm just spatially, is Deku a midget or something? How does this work? Like, we get to see viewership, and we get to see
I gotta do my own
overdrive, or whatever it's called. Another Spider-Verse reference, like again, I've been saying this, it feels like every other shot is a reference. We get the lightning sword, the lightning webs.
Sarah was right. Your quirk is amazing.
Amazing is my buddy. They call me the
like
ultimate
this line,
Spider-Man.
along with the
This suit has shock absorption,
and the
not
Shikori.
nullification. So, it's got a limit.
And also, again, this is another clever use of strategy. Deku figuring out that the vibranium suit absorbs energy and has a limit. You know, it's usually better than his previous appearance on the show. We then get a Shikori.
Death Bang!
Go beyond!
And Final Pass is beautiful. And you actually do like his look of surprise. It kind of says, oh shit, I just killed someone, you know. Like, if he wants to go for the more tragic, friendly competition ending, it's the best you could do with that, you know. So there's like things I don't like about that episode and things I do. It's sad, you know.
You really are the ultimate.
KO! Vaya con Dios,
And now
Aranya
the
Hoven.
Let's start.
So, my main disappointment with the fight was the lack of damage. Like, I would have preferred, like it. Okay, so when you have death battles that are stomps, there's always a balance between making it look close and making it reflect the results. This one kind of leaned too heavily on the reflect the results side. I would have preferred maybe Deku breaking an arm to get past the vibranium, or doing this superhero classic of, like, the mask is half shattered. Or I would have really wanted an overlay Deku, like he gets fried by the electricity, then wraps the black whip around himself. You know, I would have overall preferred more damage throughout the fight, if that makes sense.
By talking about their superpowers, which matched up quite evenly.
I
Unsurprisingly,
actually
given the
do
not
like
so
how
subtle
they give
inspiration for Deku.
superpowers even, because throughout the entire waiting period, everyone always claimed Deku took powers, even though he really didn't. They kind of
Quirks, though they did have some edges over the other.
The Spider Sense gave Miles more insight on his surroundings and threats than Danger Sense, which has been worked around before.
This meant Miles's invisibility was harder for Danger Sense to detect when he wasn't
See, that's sort of what I was talking about. Like, Anansi's more of a supportive mentor. I would have preferred more than a corner bar, frankly.
attacking, while the Spider Sense's radar system allowed him to find Deku in a smokescreen. But Izuku's other quirks granted him advantages of his own.
Float was a lot more mobile than Webs, and Fudge-In
I'm
gave a
trying to
bigger
steer this
boost in
wrong 'cause
strength
I
than
think
Venom
I'm
did.
getting
Since both had
muted
some
soon,
advantages and
so.
disadvantages, we're gonna call superpowers a tie.
Next up, speed. Scaling to Peter, Miles could dodge light speed attacks, which actually outpaced Izuku moving faster than
Even though they made him small. I actually do like how they break down
Sniper
speed,
Bolt.
because it did reflect the waiting period argument of, well, even if Miles is
Fortunately
slightly
for Deku,
faster,
though, that wasn't
Deku
his
has
best.
ways to make
Thanks to
speed
Gear Shift,
irrelevant.
Deku could speed himself up to match Miles the same way he did to the light-catching Shigaraki. Even worse for Spidey, one touch from Gear Shift could freeze him in place and make dodging totally impossible. So speed goes to Deku.
As for skill, Deku was incredibly talented at analyzing an opponent's abilities and coming up with strategies on the fly.
But Miles' powers and fighting style gave Deku few immediate openings.
And
Deku may
skills,
have
I'm gonna be. I've said this
perceived-
with every new episode. I really hate how the categories give away pity advantages to characters.
more
Like,
formal
skill was
training
just
at
not
UA, but he was ultimately
argument.
only
It's a
active in
pity
hero
thing.
work for a
No
little
one was
under a year.
arguing.
Meanwhile,
Skill.
Miles has been handling everything from neighborhood crooks to multiverse-ending gods for significantly longer.
It's close, but with his greater experience, skill goes to Miles, and that means the biggest deciding factor is raw strength.
And that was no contest. Miles absorbing the energy of that bomb was nothing to scoff at, but overwhelming power is what One For All is all about.
When Deku defeated All For One, the energy needed to part those clouds with this punch had a yield of 362
And this
billion
is
tons of
actually a
TNT.
surprising low ball, because I've seen people put this in the pentaton or exaton range. To put it in simpler terms, this is island level. I've seen people get Deku from multi-continental to possibly moon level. I don't buy moon level Deku, but I'm just saying this is a laughable low ball.
Smashing the bomb Miles
Not
absorbed
that he needs it to win.
out of the water.
But it wasn't as simple
It's
as
just,
that.
it's
Miles
also weaker than his previous episode strength.
is wearing a
so-
vibranium suit after all. So the question wasn't
That's
necessarily who was stronger, it was if Miles' suit was tough enough to continuously absorb Deku's
Remember, they said a city-busting bomb was
When the
enough
Falcon
to
protected New
take
York
it
from that
down.
city-destroying blast, it had a yield of 546.
Granted, this is a mountain-level blast, but you get the thing. Like, it was over. before-
Megatons.
As soon as they
Impressive,
said this, it
but
was
Deku
over,
defeating All For
so.
One was still over 600 times stronger than Vibranium's limit.
And Deku did that with One For All's embers, not the full package.
And remember, the Vibranium in Miles' suit was much thinner than what Falcon and Black Panther had, making it unlikely it could absorb as strong of a blast.
It's there to provide more protection, sure, but there was no way it could survive all of what Deku could
Those
dish
are my
out.
In
thoughts
this
on the
superpowered
episode.
battle, it was Izuku's overwhelming speed and immense
it's
strength
alright,
that made
but-
him the winning hero.
Oh,
And the morales of the story is...
The winner is Deku.
Next time on Death Battle.
okay, the next time is Hulk versus Godzilla. I hope Hulk wins, because going 0-3 would just destroy his career. Overall, I give it a 6, 7 out of 10. Things I like about it, it's serviceable, but there's also things that very much annoy me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all next time. Really had to speed this along, because I believe I'll be needed soon. Did not time this review appropriately. Goodbye.